Alright, so I'm going to be getting started on this 11 by 14 inch hardboard canvas with my image already transferred, as you can see here. And again, this is available down in Patreon if you'd like help with the drawing process here. It is a little bit much, as you can see, but it's very simple, and this is not as hard as it looks. So jumping in here on my palette, I've got some Phthalo Blue, some permanent black, and some titanium white just to start off with. I'm going to lay colors down as I go so they don't just sit here and dry out. And for the background, I'm going to start that first as always. And with these three colors, I'm just going to make up just kind of a general kind of gray tone that I can then vary from there. So a little black. There's some titanium white there, quite a bit actually. And let's see, let's get some more black to that. So I'm going to make up a gray tone here, like I said. Okay, just moving this color over to leave room for those other colors I'm going to lay down over here. So I just moved this over and kind of wipe that off. All good. Okay, so little gray color here. Okay, just kind of something like that. I don't care if I mix it up too much. And I've got the blue here just to add along the way for some kind of blue hue kind of areas where the reflection or kind of reflective light's going to be hitting the background. So that'll be just something like this. And I'm going to take my number 11 flat brush here to start with. This is great for covering grounds and kind of getting around everything pretty well with this edge. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up now. Use something like this, and I'll just fill in this background pretty much with this general color, and I'll vary the tones here and there to show light play and all the things, but I just want to get some base color for the background for now. Okay, now that I have this general value blocked in now, I'm going to change some different tones here. So I'm going to take some more titanium white to this gray color here. And I'm thinking, something like this. Not too critical. I can always add more or less white or black or whatever I need to do to get my tone to be correct here. So let's see. I don't know, something like this. Okay, all good. Can change it anytime if it's, like I said, not exactly what I want. So I'm going to bring this up to my image here of the raspberries, and let's bring this around. I'm just going to sort of drag this for now around this, and then I'll blend it out into that darker gray in just a moment here. So I just want to get it established around, like I said, around the raspberry here. And let's see. Go. And I don't want to, of course, bring it too far into here because, of course, it's going to be darker where things are closer together for more shadow play going on. So I think I'll kind of stop that value about right here and just kind of do something like that to kind of bring it over. Just kind of dust it down. Just, so something like this. So I'm going to bring this up like that and just kind of do this. Okay, and just kind of scrub that up. And I'm not worried about how messy this is right now. Like, again, I can always take that darker gray back over this light stuff. I can always adjust this light value if it's too light and bring it in with a darker gray to settle that down a little bit more if I want. Anything I want to do. I'm just getting the color up here and just getting this established. See, just like this, and I can really make this anything I want in any way that I want, any time that I want. And I don't have to live with anything ever. It's really cool. Yeah, just kind of hard brushing this out as paint's running off the brush. I can kind of dig in more to kind of blend that out like that. See that? Okay, and then over here. Okay, not really worried if I get inside my shapes a little bit. Of course, with acrylics, with first layers, I can still see my layout just fine like that. So all good. I'm just gonna kind of bring it up to that. I don't really care if it gets in there a little bit. And of course, this is why I like to do the background first, because if I do this first and then go around it, then of course I might drag some of that into here. And with the foreground main subject of the picture here, I don't want to hinder that or have to do it again. Waste more time in paint and all that. I just, so. So you're just going to drag this down a little bit, just kind of do this. Okay. Doesn't have to be all neat and everything. Okay, just kind of something like that. Maybe over here a little bit. There's some light play going on in the background. And the cool thing with this black and white that I love so much is that the red raspberries and the way that red pops off of black and white backgrounds is just something to behold, and is something that I just love. Okay, so a little bit more light than I want it, and that's cool because, like I said, I can just take colors and knock it back. So what I'm going to do in that regard now is I'm going to take some phthalo blue, a little bit of black, okay, something like this, a little bit of titanium white. So it's kind of like this Payne's gray kind of a hue to it. See, something kind of like this, I'm thinking. It's got just a teeny bit, like I said, of some blue in here. You can barely see it, and that just kind of gives some reflective kind of light play going on here as the light kind of makes contact with this kind of dark gray surface. Okay, and I'm just going to sort of run this around randomly, see, kind of like this. Just kind of give this rough look, kind of like a cloudy effect. Okay, and you can make this background however you want. It's really about the raspberries, and the leaf up here, of course, will have the details. And the background is really just there to make the colors of these raspberries pop off of this black and white background, which I find super cool in this way. I love these black and white when you have red involved. So get some of that color down here as well. A little bit of that sort of Payne's gray hue. Okay, Payne's gray, as you know, is black and blue. Gives it kind of this bluish gray tone to it. Now, what I want to do is get more shadow involved and get some darker colors to go around this to show these shadows, to give the impression that these are sitting on a table and all of that, and so they're not just kind of floating, you know, against a background and we're not sure what that is. And again, this is your background. If you want to make them float, if you want to do whatever you want to do, do it. I'm going to be putting some water drops in the background to show that it's on a wet table. But again, you can skip that and just make it all about the raspberries and just make the background whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and proceed and give some more of this permanent black here. And again, right in these areas, like I said, where it's going to be closer together, we want to get this shadow play going. And again, that gives it this realistic look of it's sitting on a table and all that. So here, just like that. Okay, just kind of dragging this out very lightly. See that? I can blend it out to show that shadow play as we come out here into the light and as we get closer in here with each other as it gets darker, just kind of giving that natural fade. And, you know, just kind of like this. And again, if it's too much, take that lighter value, go back into it. It's all good. I'm just going to get it out here. And then that way I can work with these colors to blend them back and forth until I get that transition where and how and as smooth as I want it to be. By just going back and forth with them until it settles into that satisfying look that I want to see here. So of course with shadows like this, again, it shows that these objects are present and that they're sitting on a surface and that they're not just floating, which is what I want to do. So it makes them appear as if they're here and not a ghost hanging out, if that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and again get some more white now into that, just to lighten that a bit. Okay, I'm thinking something about like this, and well, maybe a little bit more black. See, it's a little bit. See, and I can go back over this, like I said, and settle things down and get rid of some hard lines if they happen to be involved. And so I'm just kind of mixing this up. Like again, primarily keeping it dark here, keeping this cloudy effect alive as I get up here and out here and stuff. Okay, so, you know, however, just kind of settling this stuff back a little bit. So with everything now laid out for the background with all the shadows and all of the things here, I'm going to go ahead and now I'm adding to my palette some permanent red, some raw umber, and some yellow medium. And I'm not going to take all of the colors yet because, again, I don't want them to sit and dry out. I'm only taking what I'm going to use for now. So I'm going to come up here on the leaf, and I've got my number 6 angle brush here. This is, again, perfect, as I've said in other videos, with that tip and all those brushes angled out of my way to really get in here with that tip and even the edge when I do these little veins here on the leaf. And it'll get everything I need to do very precisely. And it's very easy with this brush to get into these areas like that. So I'm going to make up a general value of green here and block this leaf in here. I'm just going to take something like this, take a little bit of this phthalo blue, of course, to it to make green. And I'm thinking something like this. And again, acrylic paints, first layers, all about getting base color and the general color up there for the most part, and then working values on top of that and building it up. So with that said, I'm just going to take this now and just block in the entire leaf, and I'll leave a little bit of a gap so I can see where my veins are going to be at, and so that I don't lose those. And in fact, I probably could have done the dark veins first and then this, but it really doesn't matter. Anything you want to do, I'm going to start with this. Okay, so go ahead and I went ahead and just, again, just blocking in this general color. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of raw umber now and a little phthalo blue. I want this darker value now for the veins on the leaf here. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, let's see, a little darker actually. I want it, see, a little bit more blue. So when we add blue and raw umber, of course, that makes a very dark value, and mixing it with this green value gives it its natural look when I darken these veins on the leaf here. Okay, so something like that. And I'm going to take the entire edge now of the flat brush, and I'm just going to kind of do something like this, see with the edge of it. And get in here very nice, like I said, with this tip and this edge. And really get the line that I really want. See that? And just kind of something like that. Not really worrying about how neat it is. It's all good. Now I want to change up some values. I want to start coming down. I'm going to have it kind of dark up here and then get lighter with different values of green playing on here. And these values are going to make this pop and give it all of its realism and dimension and texture and all of its effects. So take a little black, a little blue. Let's go back into that green value now here. As you can see, a very dark army green that I'm looking for here. A little bit of this raw umber into it too. Not too much. That might have been too much there. All right. That's okay. Get a little bit more yellow over here. All right, so I'm thinking something like this. Very dark. And I just kind of want to hit the top here just a little bit. See with this value? And I just kind of want to use, even though this is an angle brush for more precise lines, you can also use the edge of it as I can use the edge of it as I bring it down to kind of lightly, like I said, brush it down, and then it just gives this way of blending, showing that light transition play here that happens. And see, kind of like this. All right, let's see. Kind of brush this down. See, like that. Very light pressure. Kind of go over that, bring this down, fade it down. Okay, something like this. Okay, see, I don't know. However, and I also want to kind of show some shadow here because that shows it kind of bending and gives it that fold dimension, that 3D fold dimension that I want to create on the leaves here. So a little bit of dark shadow here as it fades out of the fold and back up onto the leaf here to give it that light play, and that gives it that realism and depth and dimension and all of that. So okay, just kind of, okay, just however. And again, I can knock back colors and push them around and blend back over if something comes down too far. And I'll say one thing here, if you ever get to a point where it's coming in too far, it's better to just blend it down further than what you want it to give this fuzzy line at the very end of it than to stop abruptly and be like, oh, that's too far. And then you have a hard line. Because in acrylics, and maybe in oils too, but I know in acrylics, hard lines are a little bit more difficult to deal with when it comes to blending and giving natural transitions instead of a hard shift all of a sudden with a line, with a hard line. So with that said, hard lines more or less have to be covered up, and then you have to let that dry and then come back down again and give that fuzzy effect to be able to blend so that you don't have that hard line. And it's just one of those things, you know, where you have to choose the lesser of the two evils sometimes. You know, it's better to blend further than you want than it is to stop with a hard line. So okay, just something like that. Again, a little bit of paint left on the brush, and I want to get these little edges here, show the leaf fold happening and give that realistic 3D look to it. Okay, like it's got body, like it looks like a real leaf. Okay, and again, a little too much, I can just knock back and cover back over if it's too much. So I just want to get the value established. Acrylic paints, it's all about having something to work with instead of just trying to make something be what it should. Don't fight it and don't try to make something be something. Just get something up there and work with it and let it play, and it will turn into it, guaranteed. All right, so I want to come in here now and drag some different values in here, and I want to go ahead now and I want to make up a yellow value to kind of play in here. I want to take some of that medium yellow and just a little bit of raw umber to that. So I'm looking, say, something like this. It dulls that yellow down. So something like this. I'm going to play this value in kind of like this. See, we have a little change up here going on. Okay, I'm just going to sort of blend that down. I'm not going to bring it all the way in. Let's see, I want to go something like this. So what's cool with this brush, not only can I get these little lines here to stay intact, but I can still use it to blend and just brush it over. See, just like that, and it just starts to lay in texture and realism and all that. And super awesome brush. I love this brush. It's like one of my favorite ones to use. Okay, now we're starting to see a little bit of texture and a little bit of dimension starting to happen a little bit here. Okay, just playing different values together, blending stuff out. It just makes it do what it does. Okay. So for me, I like to forget about the picture and just peer into what I'm doing. What color is this? Where does it blend? What does it blend with? And that's it. And it's just going for that instead of trying to make the picture. Forget about the picture and, like I said, peer into what you're actually painting. And it's good to know and see what the actual colors are to be able to put it down the way it should. Okay, so a little bit more yellow into that raw umber mixture. Okay, gonna go back up here, kind of hit some of this. Okay, all good. Stuff like that. All right, and now what I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of this permanent red. And just get a little raw umber into that. Okay, and I've got some of that green in there a little bit. That kind of browns it down because red and green, as you know, are complementary colors. And usually when you take two complementary colors into each other, it darkens them down and kind of makes sort of a brown. And in this case, I want this brownish kind of reddish yellow kind of hue color here. See, I don't know all the exact names for every color, but who does? So, I just kind of call it out as I see it. Call it what you want. But I'll just say this value after mixing those values together. And let's play this one right here. Okay, let's throw some of that up here. Okay, just kind of blending that off. And let's see, let's go up here, maybe a little bit of that color up in the shadow, maybe, I don't know. Okay, you don't like something, cover it up. All good. All right, I'm going to clean this brush because I want to get the red off of there because I only wanted it in just a few spots like that for a little bit of coloration and realism and all that. So let me get this number 6 angle brush cleaned off, reshaped, and kind of dried a little bit so it's not too wet. Otherwise, it'll underbind the paint and pull it off if it's too much water and cut through it, leaving holes that are open that need to be filled. And all you have to do is just let it dry or take a hair dryer if you don't want to wait for the drying time, and then come back in and apply whatever it is on top of what didn't get covered up because maybe there was too much water. So don't fight that either. There's no, there's no reason to fight in the acrylic world at all. Anything goes, and it can all be fixed and dealt with very gracefully. Okay, so let's get some more yellow and some more of that raw umber. Okay, another layer here going on. Let's get this more golden kind of color happening down here on the leaf. The light's kind of hitting it. All right, see something like that? Kind of changes it up a little bit. And let's go in here. See, kind of like that. Okay. Now, no cleaning necessary. And what I'm going to do now is take, again, just some green, some more of that green and less of the raw umber. Most of that color is off my brush. Okay, a little bit more phthalo blue. Not too much. I just want to get that more vibrant green back. Okay, maybe something like this. Okay. Boom. And once again, I want to go back in. Just kind of hit this up and I'll maybe knock back some of this stem here a little bit and kind of blend over that a little bit. See that? That settles that down a little bit, gives it more naturalism like that to it. Okay, right in here. And as you can see, a lot of this transparent stuff here with this first layer is also getting covered up, and it's becoming smoother and more full this way. And also with more layers means smoother blending and just more pop, and the colors are more vibrant. So again, acrylics, it's all about the layers. It's all about the values playing together. And every time we put a new layer down and do all that stuff again, it just makes all of that more clear and more effective. And so that's why I say these first layers, I don't even care. I just throw it up there. And it's just one of those things where it's like, who cares how messy it is, because that mess is going to be used and fixed and appreciated with more layers on top doing what it does in that regard. So, okay, I'm going to get some of that color in here. See, just settling this stuff back a little bit, bringing this in, covering up all those transparent holes and, rough brush strokes that obviously make it look like I just kind of threw it up there and it's all messy. See, this is going to smooth all that out, these other layers. All right, so something like that. And now I'm going to clean my brush again. What I'd like to do now is take my beat up #2 nylon flat brush. It's still got somewhat of an edge, but it's also good for blending and doing some things in smaller areas. And so with that said, I'm going to take now some more of this green color. Okay, a little bit more phthalo blue into that. And now let's get some titanium white to brighten that. And as I add white, I also want to add more yellow because yellow and white will brighten and make green more vibrant. And that's what I want to do with this. Okay, something like that. And so a lot of times it's just an experiment. You know, you throw a value up there, you blend it in with something else, you see what you get. And of course, with that comes experience with knowing what to do the next time and maybe getting to the point faster when we look at pictures or look at things, you know, after so many times. But even then, it's still always somewhat of an experiment because, you know, mixing color is kind of trial and error. And I enjoy that. I like seeing what's going to happen and just how to make something pop, and it's really cool. Okay, so something like that, as you can see. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and let's see. I'm going to take just some titanium white. Okay, just kind of like that. And right up here, I want to just hit some direct highlights. And I want to leave some openings like this, and just kind of shows the texture of the leaf. And that's a cool thing about highlights. When you use highlights on anything and you use broken lines or shapes or whatever, it really tells the story of the folds and the curves and the texture of whatever it is that you're putting highlights on. And that's really cool because you can really design and make something whatever you want it to be when you have that option. So I'm just going to break this up a little bit, see kind of something like that. And let's see. Something like that, maybe, yeah. Okay, a little bit more titanium white. Let's put another layer down and make this pop and show up a little bit more seed like that. Okay, kind of like that, maybe. A little light sneaking up there, maybe a little bit. Let's see. A little bit in here. I don't know. Maybe just wherever. Let's see. Again, I can knock it back. It's too much or whatever it is. Okay. Now, without cleaning, because most of that color is off my brush, I'm going to go back into some phthalo blue, some cad yellow, and now more phthalo blue because I want to darken this green. Okay, let's see. I'm going to play with that yellow until I get this darker green going. And I'm thinking something like that. And I want to go in here and kind of open up some holes here and let's get a little bit more. Let's get a little raw umber into that to darken that, and then a little bit more blue. So I want this darker green, but I don't want it really dark army green. I just want a darker, kind of more vibrant green. So with phthalo blue, it makes green more vibrant, but more of it will actually darken it as well. So I want to darken it. Let's see, thinking something like that. We'll see how that goes. See, experimental. Oh yeah, see, that's a little bit lighter than up there. And maybe I could have waited on the highlights, but it's all good. At least I got them where I want them, and I can come back in and just make them more definitive and put them back in if they get covered up. It's all good. I'm not worried about it again. I'm just getting stuff up here so I can work with it and have something to kind of push around or whatever. But as you can see, the darker here, it kind of shows those folds happening a little bit. So you just kind of throw that in there. This darker value here. All right. I want to go back into this raw umber, and I want to get Phthalo Blue again. I want that darker value now. Okay, a little bit of this green maybe into there. Okay, so it's this really dark color again. And one more time, I want to redefine, as you see how it all gets covered up, but it's all good. See, blending and rediscovering things that get covered up, it's all part of the process of more layers and building it up. See, this is going to happen along the way. Just accept it. Don't worry about covering stuff up. I'm like, oh no, I ruined my painting. I covered everything up. It's just getting there. All good. See, I'm just going to redefine and rediscover what got covered and make these look even better because it's another layer on top of it as at the same time. See, that just brings its definition back. It cleans it up. It makes it look better each time. Getting better all the time. It's like the Beatles song. It's getting better all the time. It's getting better. Better, better. Anyway, some of you may know that. Some of you may not. But the point is it gets better each time. So let's see. I'm going to bring this dark value down with just a little paint left on the brush. I'm just going to bring it just a little bit down and just scratch that in just barely and just let that come down over this a little bit. It's coming out of the shadow. And again, I want to get that shadow established here to give it that fold look and that realism and that detail there. Okay, let's go up here, same thing. Drag that up into there. Let's drag this up into here. Okay, just like that. I want to take just pure titanium white now. Okay, not too much paint on the brush, but I want to come in here now and again, just kind of dance this around. And every time, like I said, we build up another layer, it just gets easier to place values in their places and have it actually settle in there better instead of just looking like some kaleidoscope or a rough mess of colors just kind of thrown together. You know, it just gets better each time. So as you can see, again, just getting some highlights. However. You'll see as I break it up like this, you can see there's some texture now showing on the leaf. It's got those little divots and all that going on in here. Okay, I'm actually going to go back into some of this green here. Not much, just a little bit. Okay, a little bit of paint on the brush. And I want to take and just settle down just some of this stuff. See, just kind of brush over, because that shows some of the color within these highlights. And I believe that gives it more natural realism in that way. See, just a little bit. And just kind of throw this up there. Just kind of do this. Okay, just kind of settles these highlights in a little bit, so it's not just like titanium white got thrown onto it. Okay, something like that. Okay, I'm going to clean that brush. I'm going to take my number 3 nylon round brush now with that great tip. I'm going to come in here and do some, just kind of knocking back and doing some little detail stuff in here. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take, again, a little bit more of this blue and yellow for that green. Okay, something like this. Just kind of pull through. And actually, I want a little bit darker. So let's just get a little bit more blue. Okay, pulling it through as I turn it, and that brings it to a nice point. And I want to go in here, just kind of use the tip to be more precise about how I want these to shape out in here and everything. Okay, so it's kind of like this. It's kind of like that, and so somebody's catching what I just said and where that was from. Anyway, I'll let somebody else tell whoever out there doesn't understand what that means when I said it's like this and like that. And anyways, so just being witty here. What's an artist if he's not witty, right? You've got to have the wittiness. All right, so you can see just kind of getting more specific with these little knockbacks here and these little lines that are like kind of shaping out some of these things here. And also too, with this darker green in between some of that white, it helps it pop it out more and gives it more of a, I don't know, does something to it. It just makes it come out more, I think. Okay, like this. Okay, I don't know, something like that. However, just throw these values around, play around, use these brushes, see what you can do, find out how good they work, and decide for yourself which brush do you like the best. Let me know down in the comments section below if you guys have a favorite brush or something that you prefer instead, or whatever it is that whatever's on your mind. I'd love to hear from you guys, and of course, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer anything at any time as best as I can. And you know, we're all in this together. It's always learning, always finding new ways to do effects, always finding new ways to make colors. And this is part of the adventure that, and how it's kept alive for me and keeps going, is that I keep finding new stuff, even within the same stuff. You know, it's kind of like reading the Bible. I've read the Bible. The messages are what they are, but every time I read it, I always find a new, deeper understanding or something that gives me more insight into something for my own life. And I love that, because it's kind of like Willy Wonka's never-ending gobstopper. It's like new flavors, but I'm not going to turn into a blueberry, hopefully. Okay, so more white. And I'm going to take that, pull it through as I turn it again. Brings it to a nice point. Let's go in here again and let's see, I'm playing them back and forth. It's like I go details with one value, then I get the other value and I detail into that. And then it's like I do this back and forth thing. And then I'm telling you, eventually, whatever you don't like now, you're going to love if you just keep that up, because acrylic paints just does it. It just does. Eventually, it just says, I give. This person is too consistent. He won't stop messing with me. I'm just going to give him what he wants and be what I should. I don't know. It's just kind of the way it happens. So just keep going. If you don't like something, it just means you're not finished yet. There's no such thing as a mistake or a failed painting with acrylics. Ever, ever, ever. You can come in there and change it anytime and in any way. So hang in there. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Don't be in a hurry to get to the destination all the time. Be in the moment. It's another thing I like about acrylic painting, is that it helps me appreciate the moment that I'm in. Like, I'm not thinking about things that irritate me or, you know, whatever it is. It's like I can come here and just kind of forget about it. And later when I come back to something, it's like I have a different mindset and more of a collected calm, whatever it is. And it helps me reassess and deal with stuff better a little bit. So painting, you know, in this way, for me, it makes it very therapeutic in that way. It really does. It does something, and it just changes something about where I was and where I'm at now. Have fun. Use it to your advantage. Use the brushes you're comfortable with. Create what you want to create. And just let these things happen. Let it be. And let it teach you. You know what I mean? Don't try to come in here and learn so much as it is experiencing the way that acrylics is going to teach you by the way that it works, as you just flow with it. You know, it allows it allows for that, where you can just kind of sit back and enjoy the ride and not stress. Stress kills. All right, let's see. I want to get more of this going here. I don't know. See, I can knock it back if it's too much or whatever it is. All good. Take my number 2 nylon flat brush here, and I want to go back into a little bit of this permanent red and some raw umber mixture. A little bit of this yellow to it, maybe, yeah, because I want to get kind of an orangey hue into that as well. So as you know, red and yellow give us an orange. And something like this. I like that. It's like an auburn. Kind of want to glaze it over just a little bit, just a hint of some of this coloration. Like this, see that? Just kind of does something like that, yeah? Okay, and I'll throw some of that in here. I don't know, something like that maybe. And I want to cover this in because there was a little bit of hole showing there. And again, it's all good. All right, so I don't know, something like that, okay? All right, I'm gonna clean this brush again. Okay, I'm gonna take now some yellow again. Okay, a little bit more titanium white. All right, something like this. Okay, a little bit lighter. And I want to kind of do this, kind of give it that yellow hue. Okay, and also right in here, kind of take and dust this down into this. See that? I can define this line here. Okay, something like that. Again, going back to my number 3 nylon round brush and using the very point and tip again. Okay, so as you can see, lots of realism going on. We see the highlights. It looks like it might be wet, and it is because I'm going to do some, you know, like 1 drop of water coming off of it. But mess with that. All these values, those different greens and yellows and some reds and browns, and then of course the white highlights, knocking stuff back, making little gaps to show texture of the leaf with more green in between some of these highlights. And really that's just about it. You know, you can do this however. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my number 6 flat brush here with the edge. It's got a very nice edge. I want to go and just real quick just redefine again those stems to kind of make them pop a little bit and clean it up a bit. So again, I'm going to go into some brown, a little blue. Okay, let's see, a little bit more blue, a little yellow. Let's get some of that green color in there, just a little bit. Okay, just kind of something like this. And with the very edge, I'm going to precisely kind of bring this out again. Okay. Bring this all the way down. See, just like this. I don't want to go too thick. That's why I've got this nice flat brush here with this nice edge to keep it thinner instead of having it all come out and be too thick. And I don't have to spend time trying to, you know, knock it back again, which I can, and it's all good. It just takes some time again, but I really want to just get this in here and move on here in just a sec. So let's see, get more of this stem here. Work this stuff around, play with it, practice it. Do it until your eyes like it. And I encourage you, as you do this kind of stuff, take a step back about 6 to 10 feet or whatever it is and look at it, because a lot of times with paintings, when you look at it from a little bit further back, you really start to see more of what it's really showing. And in turn, that tells you a lot, because you'll be able to see from a distance, oh, it needs more of this, or how come it looks like, you know, it's not filled in very well on this side. And just little things that you don't seem to really capture when you're up close doing it as you will when you stand back. So I do encourage you, stand back, take a look, and do what you got to do. Okay, so I've added some Cad Orange to my palette, and I'm going to take some permanent red now with that same number 6 flat brush. And I want some of that orange in here, okay, as a base color here. Okay, something like this. All right, and let's see, a little bit more red. You know, something like that. Like I said, base color is not the final color. It's just to get something on there so I can build upon it and make all the adjustments and have something to work with. So again, with my number 6 flat and that nice edge, I'm going to go into here now, and as you can see with the very edge, I can get in here very precisely. See, like that, and just come in here and fill this in more or less. Sometimes I've had people say, you know, well, isn't that cheating when you trace it out first and all that? Well, not really, because in acrylics with painting, it's not really about drawing. It's more about the color values and mixing them and playing them in where they go, and using different brushes for different techniques to create different effects, whether it's out of focus, whether it's texture on a leaf like this, you name it, whatever it is. So it's really more of the focus of that as opposed to drawing. I use the drawing just really to put everything in perspective so that the angles are right, the shapes are the right size, so I can get, you know, depth and distance if I need to make something smaller further away, or angled with everything else going the way it should so it looks real. And I really don't like to try to mess with that while I'm painting, because a lot of times it's like, oops, I gotta fix that angle or this, and you end up using more paint, and it takes a lot more time to make those corrections along the way. So I like to just draw it out first, and then I can focus on actual painting instead of drawing. Which, drawing's cool, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against drawing. I like drawing, but I like painting a lot more. And so I kind of just want to get the drawing process out of the way so I can get to this and watch the magic happen. Okay, so just kind of something like this. See, I want to bring this in, and you know, these first layers, even if I don't leave a gap perfectly, I can still see the line, my trace out here, so not really worried about it too much. And again, I encourage you to use that angle brush if using a flat brush is, you know, not something you prefer. Maybe you want those other brushes out of the way, so definitely use the one that it works for you. What's going to help you to get these shapes in and, you know, give you what you need to do for that. So just kind of something like that. I'm just going to take this color, and I'm like, in the same way with the methods that I'm using for this brush, just going to fill all of that in, and I'm going to let it dry, of course, and then I'll come back in. Okay, so this first coat, you can see, very easy to see my layout still. So I wasn't really worried about getting every little shape and leaving a gap. I just covered all of it as if it were one solid piece. And of course out here, was careful to keep the lines and, you know, do everything with the edge of the flat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take now some more of this permanent red, and I'm going to add now some raw umber to that. And right in here, this is going to be obviously a darker area, so I'm going to just work this in. Okay, just again using the corner and the edge of the brush very well. And again, use that angle brush if you need to, because that is super easy for stuff like that. I've gotten comfortable with this and it doesn't bother me anymore to use a flat brush over an angle brush. But you know, at times I go back and forth. It just depends on how I'm feeling, what I want to do that day or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to kind of fill this in. Let's kind of do something like this. You know, again, just getting general value where it goes. Not worried about details, not worried about neatness so much. I mean, I'm keeping it intact out here, but I mean, you know, in general, I'm not gonna be all frantic about it. So let's see. I'll go right here with some of that. Okay, so this is a little bit darker. See, this is more turned towards the light. This one's got light coming in, and then of course, this one here, as you see, it's pointed away from the light. It's kind of shielded by the fruit here and there, and it's pointed kind of down. So this is going to be darker. So I want to get a little bit more raw umber and a little bit of black into that now. Okay, still got that red on there because I want to keep some of that red color involved just to kind of show that a color is getting darker in the shadow instead of it just being another color that doesn't belong on the fruit. So as you can see right here, just kind of getting that darker value in this darker shadow area. We'll see all these values that play together and show in their different ways is what brings out all this realism. Because in real life, nothing is ever the same color all the way through from where you're looking at it. There's light and shadows playing at different values and different strengths. And so in the same way, I've got to mix color and apply values that do the same thing, or else it's just going to look like a flat painting instead of that pop and that realism to it that makes your eye go, whoa, and makes you want to look at it, you know, for a little bit. So I'm going to put some of that actually right in here as well. Not much. Okay, just darken that just a bit. And right here, very dark again, as it's pointed this way instead of up at the light, as you can see here, making this shadow a lot darker. Okay, so just playing the game of light and shadows here. Obeying the rules of physics in this way so that I can, again, give that realistic look. And I want to go back to my number 2 beat up nylon flat brush and start getting these darker values involved. Okay, so again, I haven't even put the colors down yet that I'm going to be using for the highlights and all the vibrant colors that are going to pop and show kind of light zinging through the color, but I'll get to that. Okay, I got to get these base colors down first. And with that said, I'm going to take this darker maroon color with some of that raw umber into that permanent red. And once again, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to start this. So these are on top, as you can see, and as you notice on the image here laid out, underneath you have this part, and this is where it's going to get darker down under here. And then it's going to gradually get lighter up here with more vibrant colors as we come on top, and then eventually titanium white to give it that shine and that glimmer, that awesome, like come and eat these awesome juicy raspberry look to it. So let's get this going here. See this? I can just kind of work this in. Okay, kind of something like that. You see that? We're getting darker now. And not going to worry about, like I said, details will come. I'll knock back some of this and show some light sneaking in down here. But for now, again, just getting these base colors up here and getting everything situated in its location. That way, again, I can work from there and establish specifically and in a more direct, definitive way where lights and shadows are playing and how light's sneaking in some places. But I got to have this down first. Okay, something like that. So this is going to start to pop. And you can already see it in a way, if you've painted before, you know that, this stuff starts to happen in no time. Just a couple values next to each other, and that's really all it takes, and things just really start to happen like this. Okay. So as you can see, I'm leaving some of this red in here because that's going to show some light zinging through and just kind of bouncing off. And it also builds the texture of the flesh of the fruit here and makes it look 3D this way too when I leave some of that red instead of having it all one solid color. Okay, you never want all one solid color unless it's filling in, base color, whatever, if you want yours to pop and if you want to have the 3D and the realism and all that. So definitely need all these values playing together. Can't have it all be the same. And, I'm not being perfect with, or trying to be perfect, I should say, with exactly where I should put these shadows. But again, if you just follow the curvature and leave, like I said, some of it to show, and even if it's not in the right spot or it looks weird, again, you can take a value and cover back some of this dark, or take some of this dark and cover back, over the lighter stuff. Anything that you see that bothers your eye, or maybe it's not exactly correct, just push this stuff around. It's all good. Cover it up, come back to it, let the layers dry if they need to dry. Okay, and see, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go on these lines here and see with my number 2 beat up flat brush, it has those frayed out edges and it kind of acts like a natural bristle brush in a way, just because the frayed out bristles kind of give it that blended kind of, shadow look to it where you can shade. Okay, so I'm actually going to use this maroon color here. Again, that's a little bit of raw umber and some of that permanent red. Okay, sometimes there'll be a little bit more permanent red, sometimes there'll be more of this raw umber, depending on how I want to convey the colors and show the different aspects of the color and how they show up, when light and shadows are playing along. So sometimes, you'll have a little bit more of a reddish maroon, sometimes you'll have a dark maroon. Okay, and so just mixing it up, more or less of one color changes values, and when they play together, gives that realism super well. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so now I'm going to go, let's see, like I said, some of this, some of that. Already, we're starting to see a little depth and dimension happen. You see these flat looking red shapes, and now we see this having some body to it now because we've got other values playing together. So I'm just going to continue to take this maroon and I'm going to hit all of the different areas where I want shadows to be for now. And again, anything I don't like, I'll just knock it back. Alright, so now I've added to my palette here some of this Magenta Red, which is more vibrant than the permanent red, and also here is the Neon Orange that is optional, and that's just to make this red, the Magenta Red, more vibrant, and I can add some yellow medium into that as well to even make that more vibrant. And this is going to make it pop and give that curvature and just all of this dimension and brilliance to it, and it's going to be like light shining through some of this color, really making it glow and just really zing out at us. So with that, I'm going to take this Magenta Red and I'm going to get a little bit of the Neon Orange in it, again, to make it more vibrant and pop this guy out of there. Okay, and to that, now some yellow medium. And this is going to ramp up the vibrance even more with this yellow. Yellow, it just does wonders. It does wonders for green. It does wonders for a lot of colors to make them pop a little bit more. Okay, so something like this. And you don't have to have this neon orange. You can use regular orange and just build up more layers with more yellow. And it'll just take a few more. But again, I like this neon because it really does something to this. So right here on the outsides where it's more towards the light, as you can see here, I'm just going to apply this value. And again, I don't want to cover everything up. I just want to hit it here and there on the very tips and just kind of go around and hit this in some places like so. Okay, and down in here, I'm going to have some of that vibrant color sneaking in a little bit because, again, that makes it pop, and in real life, light does sneak into shadow areas, so with this here and there, I want to hit some of this as well. Okay, so continuing on again with that same vibrant mix of colors here, let's continue to hit some of these that are facing up and towards the light. Okay, so as you can see too with this vibrant color, I can also come in here and neaten up these shadow areas that kind of went haywire here. And, anything you need to cover up again, and I can use this to just push things around and make this anything that I want and clean anything up anytime. So as you can see, this is my number 6 angle brush with the tip. I'm going to just precisely hit some of this vibrant color in this shadow area, just sneaking in just a little bit. Okay, no cleaning. I'm going to go into some raw umber and permanent black for that shadow color. And because I already have that red on my brush, it's not a problem to just go in there without cleaning. And in between where the red kind of spilled over into one another, I want to make a separation. And again, this is my number 6 angle brush, so I can precisely get in there and kind of put the shadows back where they got covered up. And in this way, I can define the shadows and really separate these fruits from one another. And it just cleans it up this way. Okay, so as you can see, those shadows, they really separate the berries from one another like this. And again, anything that is out of whack, just you can get in there later and just clean it up. But really, this is why I don't care about how neat something is, of course, because I am going to be building up layers on top of other ones and pushing colors around and redefining and rediscovering what gets covered up. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of brushing over some of that where the leaf and the berry is, just kind of making that shadow kind of creep over for some realistic shadow play there. Okay, so just kind of something like this, and it's all good. You can shape this and do anything at any time. So have some fun, relax, as always, and just go for it. It gets better each time with each layer, and it just gets cleaner, and it will become what it should become. All right, once again, I want to take again that magenta, that more vibrant. I want to take some of this yellow medium, a little bit of this neon orange, Okay. And you can see the vibrance and the difference when you add the yellow in there with it as well. Okay. And again, my number 2 beat up nylon flat brush. And one more time, I'm going to go in and really hit some of these places here where it's just super vibrant. You know, I want to make that shine and pop. Okay, after that vibrant color, let's get some white now, and I want to go into some of this magenta with it to get this light pink color. And I don't want to go pure titanium white all at once because I'll lose the glow. And I want to put this down first, that way I can put the white on top of that and show sort of this shine that's happening from the light hitting it. So up top here where it's going to be more light hitting it, of course, I'm going to start striking those with that. And I don't want to cover up all that vibrant red, as you can see, just some of it, and I want to leave some of that red here. And so in its general location, I'll just put this here and there concerning where the light's going to be directly hitting it. So on the very outside here, and then right in the middle, a little bit heavier pressure with my brush to lay down more paint. Okay, like that, see that? Okay, the very edge here kind of just getting kissed with the sun as it kind of curves over away from us. And then right here again, a little bit heavier paint. So as you can see, when you start calling out these other values to play in the game here, it just changes the whole game here. It really does something awesome. Okay, just kind of following the curve here of this thing. It's kind of like the light kind of playing off of it. See, just a little bit like this. Okay, a little light sneaking in right there. Yeah, okay. All right, let's keep going here. Get these little deals here. Okay, something like that. Okay, let's go back into some more magenta now. A more vibrant red. Let's take some Cad yellow to that now again. A little bit of neon orange. Okay, more magenta red. And I want to hit some places again. Just kind of make this red kind of more cherried out. So, it's kind of right in here. See that? Like that. Okay, see that? It just kind of makes it more vibrant. See how it's kind of just popping now a little bit? Okay, just kind of like this. See, I've got all these shadows established so I can really get in here and contrast against that darker shadow stuff. And really just hone in here and go for it. Okay, a little bit in there. Just showing some stuff. Some of that vibrant stuff in here just a little bit as well. Okay, not everywhere, just here and there. Alright, see how that just shines that up? Isn't that awesome? Just layer upon layer. The colors get more vibrant. So, of course, when you lay down your first layer of the vibrant color and you're like, man, that's not really vibrant. How do I get my color more vibrant? Again, it's layers. Layers and more layers upon what you've already done. And it just works together with what's underneath to pop off more colors on top of that. So the platform, it's kind of like the spring gets tighter and it launches that color even further out. Okay, so in this way, it launches the vibrance of the color more as we build up more of it. And again, how acrylics work, and just accepting that and just going for it and doing what it is that we need to do to make this happen under the conditions in which it acts. So, get out, just gonna, again, hit just some of this stuff. Okay, just kind of clean up a little bit and okay, even streaking some of that in. You can see how the vibrance here now with another layer just pops this out of here, gives it more texture that way. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All about the layers, how they just do what they do. It's like, you know, it just does it. It just does it. All right, so. All right, look at that vibrance, that shine, and that pop. Oh yeah. All right, right here, I really want to make this shine and give it some glow. So again, watch this, just gonna fill this in. Just this little bottom part here on these. And isn't that awesome? See that? That just kind of really brings that out. Okay, one more time again. You're gonna see this happen a little bit more. Okay. All right, see, like that. All right, bam. Lovely. All right, let's get awesome with this. Let's do something super duper cool. And what I'm gonna do, actually what I wanna do is I wanna take a little bit more of this red in raw umber. Okay, a little bit darker red here. I wanna go back in here and just kinda wanna just kind of darken this down in here a little bit. Yeah, it just kind of gives it more shadow. See how that just kind of knocked that down in there and it brought more depth out. Just that one little placement of that value just did wonders in that regard. So that's what I'm talking about. Just little things, they go a long way. And it doesn't take much at all. Okay, it's kind of something like that, yeah. All right. All right, I want to clean this number 2 flat brush again. Now what I want to do, this is really going to shine now. Let's get serious. Let's have some fun. Pure titanium white. Again, my number 2 flat brush here, and watch this. This is, so again, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave some of these faded lighter red colors here on the highlights as they are, and I'm gonna add pure titanium white here and there, but not everywhere, because I want to see that light transition happen. And again, it makes that pop and that shine, and it really brings out its depth and dimension and realism this way if I don't put this white on every part of this where I put the highlights. So again, it's changing values, it's changing the magnitude of the color. How heavy is it? How light is it? And all of these things and these differences just playing, and it just shows all this light bouncing around and just really makes this thing zing and pop in that regard when you have these things playing together. So for instance, I'm going to go just pure titanium white right here. Okay, and I'm just going to sort of settle that back with my finger. You can do that, and I'm actually going to wipe some of that paint off the brush. It's a little heavy, which is why I'm using my finger to settle it down a little bit. Okay, something like that. And then look, like this. Okay, something like that. See, we're starting to really get this shine happen now, and this is really going to light this up and make the shine just really come alive here when I do these things. All right, so I'm gonna, like I said, just here and there, but not everywhere. I'm gonna hit the most brightest direct highlights here, and with everything else playing along, it's going to make this pop out of here super well. All right, so let's go here. This is right in the direct highlight there, right here. See that? And then all right, look at that. Beautiful. What a beauty. All right, so here it's kind of hitting pretty strong. Okay, like that. And a little bit right here. And some more titanium white, wiping lots of that paint off the brush because I don't want it too heavy, because I want it to kind of settle in with this other faded color a little bit without taking over all of it. Because, you know, we want the shine and that glow to happen. Okay, just streaking some little sneaking highlight down in here. But man, look at that shine. Look at this vibrance happening here. Isn't that so cool? And I love this part. It's like, this is where we really get to pop this out of here and make this really take off. And you just watch it come to life right before your very eyes. So as you can see, just using this the edge or the point of this number 3 nylon round brush here. Okay, and just getting this to pop and shine. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, something like that, yeah. And let's see, this is really going to set this off too. With the tip again, I'm going to be able to go kind of hit some of these little things here. Yeah, see, like that. Just kind of show some light, just kind of playing and trickling off like that. And I really want to come in here and really brighten this stuff up. Bam, like this right here. Direct highlight right there. And of course I want to fade with very light pressure like this, just kind of fade it off, see? See how that kind of helps show shine and glow that way instead of just putting solid white down? Okay, just kind of throwing that in the middle of these and not covering all of them up because I want that to pop and shine with glow and with glee. All right, see, like that. Okay, see that? These little sneaking lights and all these things, yeah? All right, isn't that nice? All right, bam. Lovely. All right, here we go. All right, something like that. After some highlights now, let's go back to the number 2 beat up flat brush here. Again, I'm going to go into this magenta, some cad yellow, a little bit of that neon orange again. Yeah, see that? All right, let's do this. Let's go down here again. Okay, see how that just kind of lights that up? I just kind of want to do the bottoms right here of these pieces here. It just really pops these out of here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to go on the background now. And again, you can leave your background or you can follow along in this step, of course. And I'm going to take some titanium white now, pulling it through to a point. And I want to hit all of these little water drop deals here, yeah, it's like this. Okay, just kind of make this wet surface happen here. Show all these little water drops here, and I'll get to some more detailed drops in just a minute here, but for right now, just kind of want to do that. And you know, that's one way, so I'm just kind of doing that. And another way that I can do this is I can take this natural round bristle brush with these bristles here, and I can dip it in water. Okay, and with it wet, I can do this. Okay, a little bit more water actually. You want this really wet, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and kind of do this. Okay, just here and there, not everywhere, just kind of show this. Boom, just kind of like that. See, you can kind of wipe it off the berries here if they get on there. All good. Okay, no worries. Okay, just kind of something like that. And that just kind of shows kind of this wet surface kind of happening now. Again, my number 3 round nylon brush here. And I'm going to start making some of these bubbles, water drop bubbles here. So I'm going to take just permanent black. Okay, I'm going to pull it through as I turn it. Brings it to a nice point. And let's see, right up here. Okay, do something like that and just kind of... Okay, something like that for a minute, yeah. Okay, and a little thicker here so I can push harder with the brush, and then just use the very tip. See, kind of do that, and I can control those very well on the shape and on my lines there. Okay, so kind of something like that. And there's one right here. I'll have it go kind of behind this part here of this raspberry there. And let's see, just kind of leave some of it open here, not making the complete line or complete what do you call it, shape here. All right, so maybe something like that, something like this, I don't know, however, just kind of do these. And again, it's all good. If it's not a shape you want, if it gets out of whack, take some white into this black. It'll give you that gray again. You can fade it back into the similar color of your background, and it's like it never happened. So yeah, I'll tell you, this craft is so forgiving. You can do anything you want, and it's all good. Okay, right here, a little heavier and then a little lighter. Okay, kind of something like that. Okay, getting all these things in. And I'm even gonna go onto the leaf. I want to put one on the leaf here where this is, and just kind of do something like that. Okay, I'll come in and handle that in just a moment. I want to go onto this leaf here, and I want to take a little bit of the yellow medium. I want to take some raw umber into that, just to dull that yellow down, and then I want to take some white. Okay, see, like this. Okay, so it's like this very muted light yellow here. And I want to go in here and kind of do this. See that? And then above that, what I want to do is take a little bit more raw umber for a darker kind of army green here. Okay, and I want to go up here. And now I want to wipe all the paint off the brush, because I just want to use kind of the side of it. I just want to lightly dust that down. See, just pulling a little bit of that paint and pulling it slightly and just a teeny bit down into that yellow. See how that just blends it in really nice like that? See, just like that. And now we got something happening there. Okay. And now I'm going to clean this brush. Take now a light gray. So a little bit of black, a little bit of white. Let's see, a little bit more black. Okay, something like that, a very light gray. And I want to go in here. See, and I just kind of want to dust that up into that darker gray like that. See that? Okay, kind of like that. And I'll just kind of hit the bottoms of these like this. See that? The bottom of these shapes. And actually, kind of in the darker areas down here, like in the shadow, I can hit like some of this. Yeah, see, like that. All right, look at this. See that? It gives that glimmer and shine on that. Boom, see? All right, just like this. Okay, like that. Okay, now what I want to do, I just want to take some black now without cleaning. So there's a little white. This is a very dark gray now. And what I'd like to do now is go in here, kind of come up here like that. See that? And kind of blend that in a little bit. So I'm going to wipe a lot of that paint off the brush because I just want to kind of hit the edges. And with a little bit of paint, I can blend it in and kind of fade it into that more lighter gray that's already there. Okay, so right here, again, and again. Okay. Something like that. You see that? Just going to bring that up. Kind of does something to these. See, it kind of builds up the realism. Okay, so it's kind of like that. And now it's time to sparkle these up really well. So again, with my number 3 nylon round brush, I'm going to take just pure titanium white now. And right up here, watch this, just bam. Just like that. Boom. Let's sparkle up. Now with this highlight, all these bubbles here, all these water drops, see that? And what's really important is I don't want to actually fade this. I want it hard line right here. Okay, and I want to leave this dark up here. See that dark shadow? I want to leave that. That's very important. Okay, and it just really gives this nice shine to it. I just love this. This is where you just really just set this off and do all these cool effects. Okay, again, more white. Okay, just wherever. Let's throw it in there. Okay, and then a little bit of that light, or I'm sorry, white down here. I want to really brighten this up. See that like that? And then, of course, more titanium white to really make this more opaque and more bright. Or brighter, whatever. Alright, see that? That's, boom, just like that. Okay, so I went ahead and signed, and again, thank you guys so much for watching and following along. I hope this lesson was clear, and this is very simple, just some colors as you saw, just pushing them around. Building up the layers is the main thing here to getting everything to pop and have its dimension and shine. So hang in there, don't give up, and keep going, and I promise this will turn out. And if you dig my art lessons and my videos, go ahead and subscribe for more videos I'll be putting out on a regular basis. And I want to wish you guys well, and let me know down in the comment section if you have any questions or whatever you want to say. I'd love to hear from you guys and answer anything I can to the best of my ability. And with that, until next time, happy painting, everyone.